Well, fashionably late due to exorbitant amounts of traffic. But hey, we are here. We are no longer starting soon. And I do see 5 of you who are in the room. And again, I see a couple comments coming in as well. I see Mike Merrill. Hey, welcome, man. Good to see your face in the Facebook chat. All right. Also, if you are a Facebook user, I believe I'm going to hit this little button right here to give you some instructions on how to make sure that your username can show up as well, because I'd love to know who I'm chatting with and et cetera, et cetera. So everybody can see me and hear me. I'm going to slide this screen over here so that I can make some better eye contact. And I have some questions that people have already asked that I am happy to dive into. And throughout this process, we'll have about 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. We'll get your questions answered, and I'll make sure that we'll do it quickly, right? I'll even kill this light so it's even better, more dramatic, more mood lighting. I don't know. That's how I have it set up. So this is going to be real. This is going to be raw. This is going to be Ask Me Anything. You can go ahead and type in the comments below if you are on Facebook, if you are watching on YouTube, and I'll click the old refresh button to make sure that we are indeed live on YouTube. There is a couple of folks who said that they'd love to pop in today, and I want to make sure they have a chance to do so. And yeah, that's it. Cool. All right. So, lots of questions about this program. Obviously, what we're doing this week, what we're rolling out, what we are diving into to really kick off the 2024 calendar year with a bang and just hit the ground running, right? Hit the ground running. All right. So I see a hey there from Facebook user. I see a hi, Mike, from Facebook user. I do see Mike in the chat as well. So it may take a second. There he is. Cool. Beautiful. So let's dive into some of these questions that have come up, and we'll have some fun with it. If you're watching this on the recording, which I believe I have to hit to make sure that we are indeed recording, unless it does so automatically because it is a live stream to StreamYard. Boom, we got all the buttons pushed. We are ready to rock and roll. Start typing your questions into the chat. What do you want to know about the speaking business? What do you want to learn? What do you want to uncover? What do you want to unpack? What do you want to discuss? And while people are doing that, I will have my device here. I've received a lot of email questions, and this one's interesting. This one comes from Steve. Steve says, hey, maybe I should hire this agent or this bureau representative. Maybe I should do that. Is it a good investment? Is it not a good investment? And my answer to Steve was pretty simple and pretty quick. If you ask this question to this person, you say, are you a bureau/agent, right? Or are you a manager? And if they don't say manager, right, they might say bureau, they might say agent, they might say something else. They might say coach, consultant, PR firm, right? If they don't say manager, then it's really not worth the conversation. If the ideal scenario is you find someone you want to represent you because you're so busy and you can't handle all the work, that you approach them and they look at your numbers and say, oh yeah, this would make total sense. We would love those commissions, right? We'd love to work with that speaker. And a bureau will take commissions, an agent will take commissions. Those are fine in those scenarios, but you got to get to that point, right? Where you are booked enough to prove that you can earn those fees consistently, reliably, repeatedly. They want speakers who are highly paid and in demand, and there's no substitute for that. Get to that place where you're highly paid and in demand, and bureaus will be knocking down your door. And once again, good problem to have, good decision to make at that point. If you want to go ahead and pay someone 20-25% of every single gig, or if you just want to keep doing it yourself, rocking those stages and cashing those checks. So basically, if they don't say manager, that means they don't work for you, right? Don't pay them if they don't work for you. If they are a speaker's bureau or a client, again, they're interested in those commissions and they're interested in pleasing their corporate clients with proven entities. So, little take on speakers' bureaus versus managers and agents, and they all kind of fall in there. If you're paying them, make sure, and I mean paying them up front or paying them a retainer or something like that. You want to talk management, and you want to say, all right, well, you're going to interview them and say, how are you proven and going to get me these paid gigs? There's a lot of scams out there, I promise. Oh, so many scams. I have fallen victim to them over the years, and my goodness, it's a scary place out there. All right, holy moly, lots of questions have come in. Let's see. So I'll deal with those of you who are in the room right away. I know some of you had sent questions via email, and if you want to maybe jog my memory or something like that, or if you're in the room right now and you're hoping to get your question answered, that's how you bump it to the top of the list, right? Again, I'm kind of pulling up a queue here, pulling up a list, and cool. So in the room, we see Mike Merrill, and Mike Merrill says, what does a manager do for us then? Well, again, they are your advocate. They are your coach, consultant, confidant, booking manager. They do everything soup to nuts. They manage your speaking business for you. So they will help you with branding and positioning, and they'll equip you and set you up with gigs that are showcase opportunities, perhaps, and plug you in with their clients and contact list. Really, they very often will work with a very, very, very small number of speakers. And they will, again, be your advocate, be your champion. They will look at what the marketplace wants. They'll coach you through the process of adapting your message to that. It's a lot of what we do in the Six Figures speaking program, right, that we're starting up in December. Mike, it's a lot of what you and I do together with our one-on-one work. So, again, the big difference, I think, is really just in title and semantics. But it's an important one when it comes to fee structure, when it comes to, hey, are you paying these people up front? Are you paying them commission? Is there a combination of the two? Those types of things. All right. A lot of the questions I think I can answer with one fell swoop. Whoa, I think I can do this with one fell swoop. And they really have to do with, Tim, tell me about what the time commitment looks like. And this could be the time commitment for just what does it take to build a speaking business. This could be a time commitment for, gosh, Tim, what does it take to join this Six Figures speaking program that I'm hearing so much about this week? And we are launching next week, right? So if you have questions about that, this is the place to get those questions answered as well. But at the end of the day, time is a major factor, right? Time for investment, how much per week, time for how long does it take to ramp up a corporate speaking business. So we're going to kind of talk time for a little while. And while I'm talking time, you see me typing here into the chat. In fact, I'm going to go with not the chat, but rather a banner, and I'm going to test my link before I post my link to make sure I'm not sending you awry, right? We want to make sure you're getting you to the right place where you need to be. And many of the questions that you have, again, about this program are answered here. So this is the program, Six Figures Speaking. Real time, folks. Real time. That's the goal for a lot of people, right? Not only six figures is the goal, but as I say, time here, so six figures quickly is very often the goal. All right, so let's talk about the first time commitment. What does it look like to join this program? How involved and intense is it going to be? And how quickly is it going to work? So the first piece of that question is how involved and how intense? Well, we're going to do a couple things right out of the gate, right out of the chute. We got time in December. We got a little bit of time. We got a window. We have opportunity in January. We want to prepare ourselves in December for that opportunity in January. I'll say 9 out of the 10 speakers that I see fail because of messaging. So we're going to start with this big messaging workshop. That's going to be an event. We're going to do that at one time. We're going to go through an intensive workshop. If you're there, great. We'll try to work around schedules of everybody in the group. If you're not, catch the recording. There's tools and templates and everything you need along that process. But it is the fastest way to hold up your speaking topic, hold up your offerings to the light, see if there are any cracks, see where it can be improved, and to see if there are any holes in your bucket, because again, 9 out of 10 speakers will fail because of a problem with messaging. It's kind of like saying, I get this really great thing. It's a hamburger. You're going to love this hamburger. You hungry? Boom. You love hamburgers. And your audience is a bunch of vegetarians. I don't care what the price is. I don't care how you market it. They have made a decision already about what they want and what they don't want. And if you bring something to the corporate market that they don't want, or that they don't understand that they want or why they want it, in their language, not yours, then you're toast, right? You're avocado toast in that case. So don't mess with that. Don't mess with that. Package up a message that they want. So time, boom, one session, dedicated time. We're going to spend a few hours on that. And then you and I are going to get together one-on-one, and we're going to hash out your messaging, right? We're going to do a strategy session completely surrounding messaging and getting you up to speed, so that when we hit the program, you're going to hit it with a program, a product, an idea, a message, a package message that you have confidence in is worth investing time and energy and effort. And isn't that the real answer to the question about time? It's not how much time is it going to take, but is the time I invest going to be worth it? Because the same can be true about time that can be said about money. People spend their money wherever their priorities are. You look at someone's bank transactions, you know where their priorities are. Look at someone's calendar, you know where their priorities are. Time and money, precious resources, where we spend them is a clue about where our priorities are. So making time is definitely a piece of the puzzle, right, for what's important to you. And knowing and having confidence that this is effective and efficient and going to work gives you the ability to make a decision like, yeah, I want to spend some time in this, or maybe I don't, right? And one of the biggest time-saving measures would be to, find out now that corporate speaking is maybe not for you, and you can release that mental real estate. Maybe you have something that's eating away at you that you feel like you've got to bring your message to the world, and you know that corporations are a great distribution model for ideas, and you know that corporate speaking is a great financial reward, right, to help you increase your impact. So again, these decisions are, sometimes time saving in and of themselves, where you know what to focus on and what not to focus on. I'm going to pop over to YouTube, see if there's any questions over there. I'm not sure if they populate in here. I'm not even sure if we're going live. Yes, we are. Yes, we are live on YouTube. And in fact, there's a couple people watching over there as well, even though I kind of just put that as an afterthought. All right. Long story short, back to time. We've got our messaging workshop. We've got our one-on-one that we'll schedule at your convenience. And then we've got our 90-day concentrated focused boot camp, where we're going to get together every week. Once again, we'll figure this out as a group. What time is best for everyone? What day of the week and what time? And then we'll be consistent with that, so you can plan ahead. And hey, if you had a doctor's appointment in 3 weeks, you'd make it, right? You'd prioritize that. You'd make the doctor's appointment. You'd cancel what you have to cancel. So you'll get into these sessions come hell or high water, one way or another. May not get into all of them if it's not super convenient, but you don't need to, because we're going to be recording all of these, so you can have access to the recordings for sure right after it's available. It's real time, and you can ask your questions and engage with me throughout the week, and then I'll answer those questions live on our call. Now, speaking of live on our call and answering questions, we got a time crunch. I have a corporate client coming up I need to meet with in about 1 hour, so we're going to get as many questions in as possible right now. Keep typing them in the chat. I see someone who says live in the chat, and a couple other folks in there as well. So I do read you. I read you, as they say on the radios. So loud and clear, right? So that is one of the time questions. Once a week, can you invest, an hour or so a week in your business? And what we're going to do in that moment is we're going to talk high level strategy for the week. We're going to help you to prioritize your tasks so that the time that you do have to invest in this thing that is a dream and it's eating away at you will be valuable time, right? So I think this is a time investment more than it is a time cost. So, and that's true, I think, of so many areas in life, right? Of being able to invest a little bit of time so that you can save time later, and that's true for this as well. So that's our 90-day, 12-week boot camp. Mike Merrill, you've gone through one of ours last year, or was it mid-year? Gosh, I can't even. It's been a wild ride. We called it 0 to 10K. Laser focus on short wins in these sessions. The strategies will be like, let's get to the gigs, and then let's leverage those gigs and use those gigs to build long-term success. This time, again, our focus is 6 figures speaking. I don't know if you're going to do it in a year or do it in a month, but that's our goal and that's our target: 6 figures speaking. And I think that that's a very realistic goal in the corporate market. How many gigs do you need? Let's do some math. I'll take off my sweatshirt here because the lights are heating up. Tell me how many gigs you think you need. You don't need to tell me. This is not a guessing game. This is math. Your fee's 15 grand. Your fee is 10 grand. Let's keep the numbers simple. How many gigs a month? Less than 1, fewer than 1, my grammar folks. So yeah, there you have it. Time, right? That time frees up. I mean, you're making a bunch of money and you're only working 1 gig a month or 2 gigs a month. I think that frees up a lot of other time as well. And I know, Mike, for example, you're pursuing a lot of other projects, passions, and giving and doing all kinds of cool things that you're involved in. So that's 90 days. That's 90 days. That's 12 weeks. That's laser focused. That is ramping up, focused again, not just waiting 90 days to get results, getting wins along the way, and then leveraging those wins and moving forward. But that's your strategy. You'll know, and you'll be able to come back to this process and you'll know these are the marketing initiatives that are right for me. These are the marketing initiatives that I enjoy, right? We're not doing cold blast emails and those types of things to try to book $10,000, $15,000 gigs. A, it doesn't work, and B, it drives you crazy. Why would we teach something like that? That's just not a fit. Doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, that's 90 days. That's once a week for 90 days. Now, we are going to be very efficient because we have what we call element 3 in this program. And element 3 in this program is the online video walkthroughs, where we go one step at a time and show you one step at a time, step by step, literally walking through, do this, do that. Next is this, expect this. Here's a script for that. Here's a template for that, a tool, a resource, a checklist. Get it done. Here's everything that you need. Make it happen, right? So that's our third component that saves some time and allows you to be focused and efficient, right? Is that you're doing the right things in the right order. You've packaged your message in the right way, and you know what results to expect and what to do if this happens or this happens or this happens, right? All right. So that is, I think, the main time commitment, if you will. But a lot of people are concerned about this year-long thing. What is this? Well, this is our mastermind group. This is our alumni group. This is a sort of prize that you're gifted after graduation of our boot camp, our gig-getting, laser-focused marketing initiatives, get you the gigs, build your sphere. Not your sphere, your pie, those wedges we talked about on video 3, building those out as you're getting gigs and getting paid along the way, right? So the fourth component really is this mastermind graduate group where we get together every week and virtually and continue to brainstorm and network and mastermind and share wins and ask questions so that anything that comes up as you're building and growing and carrying on the momentum through 2024, anything that comes up, you can come to me and say, hey, I got a crazy scenario. They want to book me for 2 gigs. How do I write up a contract for that? Or whatever question that you have along the way. Hey, how do I handle what my bank said to me when they shut me down because I had too many deposits? Again, whatever questions you have, we'll certainly take into account. All right, let's see. Hopefully, again, if that answers everybody's questions regarding time, show up when you can show up, watch the recordings when you can't show up. join us in the Q&A in the chat rooms and those types of things in between in the week. There's lots of ways and opportunities to implement this. Now, a lot of people will also take the course's materials and they'll just give it off to their assistant. And they'll say, hey, take this. They'll pay somebody in, the Philippines or something, and they'll say, go take this course and run with it, make it happen for me and my business, customize it for me. And that's a consideration as well. We actually have some speakers doing that as well. So delegate, right? That's another way to save some time. All right, let's see. How much time do I need to be able to dedicate each week to make this work? Going through a lot of stuff, doing other programs, building. Yeah, you'll have the time and the freedom and the flexibility to do that. That comes from Patrick. I think I saw you in the chat, Patrick. Let's see. That's the first concern. Second concern. Actually, I got these reversed. I love how you worded this. I hope it's okay if I mention this. Starting from absolute zero, right? Successful in one business. I think you said you sold that business and, really looking for this next chapter, but starting from absolute zero. No website, no video footage, no demo reel. When I say I have nothing, I mean not a zip, zilch, a big goose egg. My concern is, will your program work for someone who is literally starting from zero? Short answer is absolutely yes. That's what it's designed for. We leave no stone unturned. I remember it was like to have absolutely nothing and to have a million questions and to really not have confidence or believe that anybody would want to give me a check for a message that comes from a college dropout birthday party magician who wore a tuxedo t-shirt and a plastic top hat in the professional promo photos that I tried to look legit in with a raccoon puppet in my hand. So yeah, used to be a skunk, right? I used to have a skunk as well. I think the skunk was sick that day, so I went with the raccoon puppet for the photo shoot. But I am starting from row. I am well acquainted with that. Many of our members are in situations like that, whether you're starting from zero or whether you've got a lot of pieces on the chessboard, but you just don't know where to put them. I talked to a guy today that said, I got a TEDx talk coming up. I've spoken at Scotland Yard. I've spoken in front of British Parliament, and like incredible pedigree, and yet is still even struggling because the point is not what pieces we have on the board, but what position those pieces are in. And even a pawn, even a itty bitty piece, right? Birthday party magician can take down a king if it's in the right position on the board. So that's our focus. It's not what you bring to the game. Really, it's how you play the game. Whether it's, we were talking today on one of my one-on-one calls. The guy said he's got, cards in his hand, but he knows he needs to play them as well in the right order. And we all have cards in our hand. We all have ways too that we can go and get cards that are better than the cards that we have in our hand. So as we are building our business, we're going around that circle. We're hitting the different wedges. We're boosting our personal branding. We're gathering demo footage. We're upgrading constantly. Just last year, a couple of years ago, I upgraded my own demo video. Spent 25 grand to have a 4-minute demo video made. But, again, it's an important investment. You're upgrading your stuff. If you want to be a $10,000 speaker, you just got to look like a $20,000 speaker. If you want to be a $25,000 speaker, you can't expect other people to invest money in you if you're not willing to invest money in yourself, if you're not willing to invest in the type of thing that you're offering, right? You're offering advice. Are you investing in advice? Not saying, are you out there hiring speakers, right, to come and sit in your living room while you sit on the couch and they speak to you. But again, show up, prove it, right? That we go after, again, those things that we want, and going after it involves effort, sweat equity, right? Again, the playing of the cards, not necessarily the cards in our hand. All right, Facebook user, do you recommend virtual over in-person or vice versa? The answer is yes, and not either or. Virtual is not going away. And one of the pieces of elevating your perceived value in the world of corporate speaking is looking good on Zoom, sounding good on Zoom. I have my off-camera mic here today. But again, it's part of your branding now. It's just part of how we are doing business in 2023, 2024. Hybrid events, virtual events aren't going anywhere. We've got to have it as a tool in our toolbox. We've got to have that option in our back pocket when they say to us, hey, our town has shut down live events. We're worried. Can you do it virtually? Or, hey, we've got people from all over the world. Half of them don't feel like traveling. So, can you do it virtually? And the answer is, again, you've got to be willing to show up. You've got to be able to maybe deal with about 87% of the way there. I mean, I've done Zoom presentations literally for Zoom for thousands of people. And this wasn't my setup. It wasn't perfect, right? But you go 87% as best you can. You work with what you got. That's the whole philosophy really behind building a speaking business. Use what you've got, leverage it, get to the next stage and the next step. It's too important, right? There are people who need to hear our message. It's too important for us to worry about what is hanging on the sign in the back of our Zoom call, right? And that's why it is a priority when it becomes a priority, right? And we can invest when it's the right time to invest in a Zoom setup or in a demo video or in a website or in whatever it takes. So there are times when it's the right investment. There are times when it's not the right investment. So we've got to learn how to leverage those things. So do I recommend virtual over in person? I mean, really, it's personal choice. The speaking business has, the industry has really accelerated in its adoption of virtual as an option. So you have more people who are willing to consider virtual speaking. So if you want to stay home and you don't want to leave and you don't want to hop on airplanes and you want to deliver content just like I'm delivering content right now, and find ways to engage audiences digitally, heck yeah, you can do that. If you want to stand on stages and look people in the eye and feel their energy, heck yeah, you can do that. COVID is not fully in the rearview mirror, but I'll tell you, man, oh man, the events industry is back in full force. Starting 2021, very much into 2022. 2023 was a record year for a lot of speakers, and we're starting to see kind of it come back to earth a little bit and balance out even more between digital and in person. So yeah, yes, have it in your back pocket. Yes, offer it as additional or add-ons to your in-person stuff. There's all kinds of ways to leverage digital in 2023, 2024, and beyond. All right. When someone is starting from scratch without video, what should we have on our website? Now, website is one of the other components that we delay as often as possible. And by we, I mean myself and the speakers we work with. It's not necessarily a delay. It's really just a prioritization list, right? So website is not as important as many speakers think it is. I think I shared the story of a woman who came to one of our live events and said, my website's been down for 11 months, like 404 error, nothing on it. And we can't figure it out, can't fix it, but I'm busy. I'm busy doing $10,000 gigs. So I'm just going to keep doing those $10,000 gigs, right? I'll tell you the number of gigs that I've booked just from people kind of like finding my website. I didn't have a website for like the first 9 years of my speaking business. I just sent it to like a listing page on a bureau website where they listed me. That was it. That was it. And what did I have? Packaged messaging, titles, topics, program descriptions. I knew exactly what they were looking for and what they wanted in terms of what kind of language assets, right, that they'd be looking for, right? And so I packaged and positioned my messaging. And yeah, I didn't throw up a sizzle reel. I literally had a demo video, and a demo video is just you speaking on stage. That's it. Maybe a little bit of music in the background, maybe a logo bumper at the beginning and the end. But that is it. No animations, no client logos, no client testimonials, nothing, right? Just you speaking on stage. That's demo, as in short for demonstration of what you do. So I had that literally like 9 years, and I was just busy speaking. So why work so hard when it comes time to scale, right? That's when we'll talk about things like websites. But you know what? The short answer, or the better answer, or the more practical answer to that is use what you've got, and don't put anything in there that you don't, that isn't really necessary, right? Minimalist website. If you've only got words that you can put on a page, then put the words on the page. Just make sure they're good words. if it's forward facing, if people are going to see it, it should be clear, it should be concise, it should be compelling. People should know exactly who you're for, what your message is, why it matters, what it means to a bottom line. I mean, these are questions that, they've got itches that they've got to know that you can scratch those itches, right? So language assets, I think, are probably the most important thing for a website. But everything goes into the picture, right? Your photos, yeah, demo videos, all those things do matter. But I'll tell you, if we have a speaker and they're really, really wanting to put something on their website, we have them create an I believe video. So we set up a Zoom, right? And maybe we would interview them, right? Maybe get a friend to look like it's a podcast interview or something, put on a set of headphones and make it look official. I don't know. And, we have a structure and a template and a format for what we call our I believe video. And it's just, here's my message. Here's what I'm all about. Here's my passion. Here's my purpose. And here's my speaking style. And yes, it's to a camera, but this is who I am and this is what I stand for. So that's a substitute that we'll sometimes use for our speaking clients who really just feel like they need something to fill a box on a website template or whatever. All right. So I hope that answers the question. Facebook user. Next Facebook user, do you recommend different marketing approaches for selling workshops versus keynotes? Yes. I'm selling day-long ideation and innovation training workshops for $10,000 and $15,000 a day, but not selling many keynotes. Is the key focusing on different target markets, event planners versus training directors versus HR leaders versus CMOs? Thanks. Now, the people who have booked me for keynotes, the titles vary almost like no overlap. Like there's almost, in other words, if I book 50 gigs, there's 50 different titles that have hired me, right? Maybe 43, right? Different titles that have hired me. So it is yes to all of that. And that also makes it hard to do any sort of real focused targeting and things like that. But yes is the answer. Very different marketing strategies. And my favorite front end offer is the keynote speech. Maybe a breakout session in terms of workshop, 90-minute breakout sessions, something like that. For those who don't know, again, industry terms, right? I mean, it's what you don't want to ever be in in a position where you say the wrong thing and clue the prospect into the fact that you don't know what you're doing. Right. So anybody who doesn't know what a breakout session is, real simple. You're at a conference, you're at an event, they have main stage speakers, everybody comes and listens to the speaker. Then they all break out into different groups and listen to the speaker that they decide they want to listen to. Right. So they choose which group they want to break out into. Sometimes they are assigned. Sometimes there are different tracks or different colors or animals to know which track you're on. But at the end of the day, again, there are smaller audiences, more focused content, and much more workshoppy and interactive than a front delivered, speech. That's the word. So, and even the speeches now, people are wanting more engagement and interactivity as well. So, to that end, right, marketing those things is the reason we like keynotes is because they are having events and they have slots that need to be filled. So they have a need beyond their business needs. They have event needs. So we get in our foot into the door with the event needs. We package this amazing keynote that's ready to go. I mean, here it is on a silver platter. You don't have to think. You don't have to imagine. It's literally, this is what it's going to be on your stage. Yes or no. You're in or you're out. And when they say yes, then you have conversations and you start adding in workshops and trainings and training packages and online courses and coaching, executive coaching, consulting packages, all kinds of cool things that you can add on the back end to help solve their business problems once you've solved their event problems. So great on getting those $10,000 to $15,000 per day. It's a lot of work for a full day versus an hour keynote. Although some would argue that a workshop is much less energy output, much more involved, and plenty of time where you're just going to sit and let them do what their activity is. So again, an argument can be made, but Great question. Great question in terms of positioning. Sounds like you've got some momentum, some pieces on the chessboard, and looking to really leverage them and put them into place. Once again, we're doing this really kind of in honor of this six-figure speaking program. It's a 90-day window, plus there's a year tacked on the end of it. Not that it's going to take that long to get the results that you're looking for, right? Again, we have laser-focused, quick wins that leverage into long-term success, but we give you that ongoing support so that you can go at your own pace, so that you don't feel maybe inundated or overwhelmed, and that you have friends, new friends that can go through this process with you. All right, let's see if I missed any questions. Here's one. Can a TEDx talk substitute for a speaker's video? 100,000% yes. That is a great demo, right? Demonstration of your message. And think about what made TED and TEDx so successful. Packaged messages, right? Here it is, perfectly idea wrapped in a nice bow for your audience. Short speeches used to be 12 minutes, I think, or even 18. Then it got to 12. I think it's closer to 8 now. I don't even remember the time frame that they're giving you, but it's shorter than an hour, much shorter than an hour. And so this is the power of packaged ideas and packaged messaging. Look what it did for TED and for TEDx, right? And the same sort of value and benefit can be had by speakers, right? When we package our message, it just makes everything easier as we move forward. But in terms of video, some TEDx events have really, really good video cameras, audio, and when in doubt, audio beats video, by the way, which is what drives me crazy about video 3 and the microphone problem that we had and the voice problem that I had. Audio is critically important. I think anybody who watched video 3, you get 40 minutes in and you're like, this, the audio, it's like ear fatigue. All right. And I believe video. Excellent, says Facebook user. How does your program help you get started with your first gigs? Great question. Obviously, there's some secret sauce here. Obviously, there are some what we call marketing initiatives that's where a lot of the value of the program is understanding how to go and book gigs. How to book the gigs, really, and this is really, really important. This is one of the distinctions with this year's program that we're really focusing on and really trying to help speakers to do is get the gigs at the level that you're at, but not so that you'll stay at the level that you're at. Some people think maybe a free gig would only lead to more free gigs. Okay. The wrong free gigs, unleveraged free gigs would lead to more free gigs. So what we have to do is we have to see where we're at. What assets do we have? What does our pie look like? How much of our wedges are built out? And what can we use to leverage and to get the next level, right? And is that level, and make sure that that level is a stepping stone and not a stopping point. So the answer is, there are many different ways as we go down deep into the marketing initiatives wedge, many different ways to have gigs come to you. That's the ultimate goal, right? It's so much easier to quote high fees and to close deals when they're seeking not a speaker, but they're looking for Tim David, right? That's a big difference. So there's really only two ways to get gigs. Either they come to you or you go to them, and how you go to them matters greatly. If you're cold blasting emails to event planners or blasting out LinkedIn messages, it's not only ineffective, it's reputation damaging. You've got to be careful about some of the initiatives that you engage in. It might work really, really well for levels A, B, and maybe even C, but when you get to $10,000, $15,000, it's a different sandbox that you're playing in. There are different expectations, and they do not want you to be a pest. They expect you to be a peer. And there are many, many techniques that immediately in their mind put you into the pest category and you're out, right? So without going into all of the different marketing initiatives that we engage in, the short answer is nobody's ever gotten to the bottom of the marketing initiatives list in our programs. Nobody's ever finished all of the marketing initiatives, because if that's your mission, like do all of the marketing, you're going to be distracted by success. You're going to get to a place where these marketing initiatives are booking gigs. Maybe someone in that audience sees you and it opens up a door, and suddenly you find yourself at this huge event in front of your ideal prospects. You get 12 spin-off bookings. This one is a chapter of another association that has 49 more state chapters, and now you're going down that rabbit hole. Distracted by success. It happens all the time. So how do we get started with your first gigs? Yes. I mean, other than giving you the secret sauce and the different marketing initiatives and the different programs and ideas and strategies and tactics and techniques and all this, I mean, that's what you're learning in the program and in the package. But again, we use a diversified portfolio. We use stepping stones. We leverage. We add where we need to add, and we don't get ahead of ourselves and put the cart before the horse. All right. Question about my face hole. Yeah, my brother says it looks like the mouth hole in my beard just kind of melted and slipped off to the side right there. Real simple. It's just alopecia. Nobody really knows 100% what the cause of alopecia is. It's been a wild ride for me. A lot of, I'll tell you, it started maybe right around the time the summit, the Next Stage Speaking Summit was really in full swing and planning live events. You know what? Let me tell you something about event planners. Those poor people. I think it's like the highest stress jobs are like firefighter, police officer, event planner. And so maybe this is stress induced, but they say it'll grow back within a year. Mine just seems to be getting bigger, but it is what it is. And again, you continue showing up with your message and your idea, and you keep getting on stages and speaking. And I'll be talking today in now 45 minutes. I'll be speaking with an enormous company, right? An enormous company. They're based in Asia, and they're coming to the States, and they're partners like Microsoft, Intel. It's a huge showcase opportunity. It's happening next week, and we're just doing kind of the final touches and finishing touches. But yeah, I mean, $10,000 gig to go to, Southern California during the dead of winter. I'm in Boston. It's going to be not a terrible situation, right? And I'll take all behind the scenes with me, right? In terms of people in our programs and our groups get a behind the scenes look into what it looks like to do a $10,000 gig, have these conversations. It'll be recorded, and those types of things are always fun. All right, David says, I'm curious about. Oh, that's right. He says, I'm curious about, and then blank, and he said pesky send button in the next email. And that says, okay, more time questions, traveling quite a bit. I'm already successful in XYZ category. Time commitment. We did talk about time commitments. Again, this program, you go at your own pace. You can enjoy quick successes. When I say it's a year-long program, this is not something that's going to take a year. When I say it's a 90-day boot camp, it's not something that you can't take action and book gigs. We had one guy, you saw the videos, right, of the some of the client feedback and some of the stories. I'll be sending another one out in a couple of days. There's we use Queen's Another One Bites the Dust, but I had somebody record it. Another one books the gig. And it's just story after story after story of people booking gigs and getting paid. And this one guy was like, in a couple of weeks, he's like, we just packaged the message. We just did that. And then I just started the first initiative, and I don't have any connections. I don't have, demo footage he just sent it out to 20 of his Facebook friends, but we had the right scripts and the right ideas and the right messaging. Right. And he said within the first couple of weeks, I booked a $9,500 gig and a $3,500 gig. And he's like, heck, I'm doing it again. He picked 20 more Facebook friends and booked another bunch of gigs, and he totaled $19,000 worth of gigs just from packaging a message and getting started, right? So you absolutely can get started right where you are and have these quick wins. And you better believe that these wins are going to be leveraged, right? And these gigs and these opportunities are going to be replicated and expanded. And if you can turn every gig that you do into 3 gigs, I mean, do the math, right? You're going to be overwhelmed at some point very, very soon. So stop this whole nonsense where it takes 3 to 5 years to build a speaking business. It does not. Any light to shed on how the ongoing meetings are going to be scheduled? Okay, so we're going to get together as a group. We'll survey everybody who's in the group, but first we got to find out who's in and who's out. But we'll survey everybody. We'll say what's good for you. Everybody votes, and then we pick the winner, right? I get a vote, counts as twice, right? Because I gotta be there, right? But everybody else, again, we're gonna just make sure that we can accommodate. And again, 9 times out of 10, everybody can attend. But there are times when people are, we had a guy in, I think it was Nepal or Indonesia. I might be way off base on that. But different time zones, and it can be tricky if that's the situation. But if you're in the United States, you're pretty much guaranteed it'll be a good day, good time. Probably during the week. We're not going to mess with weekends, those types of things. But we let everybody decide. We let everybody vote. That's a great question. All right. Checking my email for some more questions because a lot of emails went out. Hey, if you haven't seen the video series, my goodness, get on that. I'm going to go ahead and pop the video series into the chat, not the chat, the screen. My goodness, I cannot believe I have not shared the video series with you yet. It's coming down in just a few days. So we might as well have a look at the video series titled Highly Paid Speaking Gigs from Scratch, even if nobody knows who you are, even if you've never done a speaking gig before. This is the plan. This is the path. This is the fastest, shortest route. We've seen it all before. We've heard, all kinds of speakers in all kinds of situations. Nothing new under the sun. We know where to get from point A to point B. We know the obstacles in the way. We know the way around them. So again, no big mysteries, but you do need a plan if you're going to get there. And it's not intuitive. It really isn't. The plan is who books the gigs? How do I reach them? And I will reach out to them. That is the intuitive way of doing it. But that is also a way that can get you into a lot of trouble. And like I said, maybe even ruin some reputations if you're out there on LinkedIn, spam messaging, direct messaging people. If you're out there sending blast cold emails, I know a lot of people out there teaching this. You got to send 300 emails a day or whatever. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Video series. Let's see what the link is. Maybe some of you could beat me to it and put it in the chat with HTTPS. Let's keep it secure for all of y'all. It is definitely speakinggigs.com/paid -gigs the number 1. That's the first video. It'll take you to the other 3. That is being loaded up into the chat. Beautiful. It shows up on YouTube's, and there it is on the screen as well. All right, back to the comments. Looking for more questions about anything. I've also gotten this question, what's under the hat? I'm often wearing a hat like this. I'll be wearing a hat, maybe a different hat, during my meeting, even with my $10,000 clients. I'm not saying it's, brand thing or whatever. I'm not like, Gary V, casual kind of style, but, I'll show up on stage with a suit. But yeah. What's under the hat is too much hair right now. Too much hair. It's I'm in between cuts right now. But hey, got a gig coming. I'm gonna get all fancy pants. I think I even have a little montage. Let me try this. I really hope this does not mess with success here. Give me a second. I know there won't be any audio, but it looks a little something like this. There's the suit. There's the haircut. Yeah, champ. All right. What other questions do we have? We're coming up at the end of our hour that we had originally planned. I did want to make sure that everybody's question got answered. Ask me anything about the entire corporate speaking business. What do you want to know? And what do you want to know about maybe even our program that we're running? It does start next week. Starting soon. The video series does come down on Sunday. And again, a lot of this stuff is time bound. Of course, too, you don't forget, right? We've got this other thing happening where the price goes up by $100 every single day. So if you're in, you lock in your price, you pay your fee and you're in. And I got to check, man. We've been doing this for a little while. Maybe some of these spots got filled, but there's only a handful of spots left. 12 speakers I can handle in terms of message coaching and consulting. This is heavy mental lifting, right? We've got some process, we've got, but it really is a lot of crunching of ideas. And so again, 12 speakers max right there. Let's see. Well, she's one of our members already, fully subscribed and paid in full, save the money. That's an email from myself to myself. And I don't believe I am missing anyone. So I'll head back to the comments because I see a bunch has populated, or a couple have populated since I looked away. Okay, how much is your upcoming program and what's the fee? Cool, 2 people. 2 people. So as you can imagine, if you're able to charge $10,000 for a speech, and you're learning how to book $10,000 speeches and maybe even more, or even if you get half of that, heck, even if you get a third of that, I mean, there's something to be said about thousands of dollars for doing something that you might even do for free. Shh, don't tell our prospects that, but we do love what we do. And that's what they pay for, right? They pay for that energy, that enthusiasm, that excitement. Audiences can smell it on you if you're faking it. So yeah, you want to have that passion. So we always think in terms of investment, not in terms of cost, right? If it is a cost, it is too expensive. If it is an investment, well, tell me the numbers and we'll maybe think about it. But if you're a recreational course taker, for example, then it's too much money. It's not gonna be worthwhile for you. But we do a little bit of comparison, and we think about it in whatever way we want to think about it. You might think about it like, well, here I am. I'm buying a business in a box. That's what I'm really doing. I'm buying a business, and it's all the, again, documents, templates, tools, resources, lists of clients and prospects and organizations that hire speakers. I mean, literally like everything you need, right? It's a business in a box. We even packaging up the messages with you and for you, right? So, I mean, some of the hardest, most difficult stuff for people who are not having their finger on the pulse of the corporate speaking industry, where they get stuck the most, here it is on a silver platter, right? So you're buying a business in a box. If you buy a business, usually it's 2 to 4x of the annual revenue. So it might be like 2.6x, it might be 3.3x, something like that. When I was selling one of my magic businesses early on, that's what we looked at. And it's hard to sell a business, but I mean, a broker would list a business easily 200,000, 250,000, billion, my speaking business, it would be a lot of money, that speaking business. So, it's all on how you think of it. It's all how you think, but a business that you buy, it's not a franchise. It really is as close to that as we can get, making it absolutely transferable for you to have the same levels of success, right? So that's the idea. That's the goal. On that website right there, you'll see the price. It's listed. I'll tell you the price. It's $1,500 times 3, right? 3 payments of $1,500. If you want to save a little money, you can pay in full up in advance. And it's $3,600 today, $3,700 tomorrow, $3,800 the next day. And when it closes, it'll be, $4,000. You still save $500, right? You still save $500 if you pay in full up front. You can literally go there to that website on the screen right now, check out the pricing, check out what's included, all 4 elements. Please tell me what we're missing. Please tell me what a speaker would need to get into the speaking market, into the corporate speaking market, get booked, get paid. Tell me what they would need that's not in this program, right? Tell me what they would need. As long as they're willing to roll up their sleeves and do some of the work, right? What do you need, right? And that's how you're saving so much money. If we were to do this for you, it's $30,000, right? I mean, we've got staff, we've got time, we got to pay them for their time. We've got intellectual property that has value. So save a bunch of money, do some of the work yourself, right? And if you can follow directions and follow recipes, I don't see a reason why, you wouldn't have similar success, right, to some of our clients. Now, the obviously one-on-one attention is valuable. Obviously, we spend we spend 3 to 5 weeks with our one-on-one clients when it comes to messaging. We really dial that in and really focus on that. So, there's again, apples to oranges here a little bit, but the goal is 6 figures speaking, and the program is faster. What time worth? It's going to get you there faster than certainly you can do it on your own. We've made all the mistakes for you, and we can certainly cut the learning curve for you. Here's Mike Merrill, an alum. What makes Tim's courses worth it is he is actually speaking for these figures every week. He negotiates, gets refused, gets accepted, doing the work, not just telling you what to do. And I'll fill in the blank there, but yeah, doing it. As you said, doing the work. So thanks, Mike, for that. I think it is important to do two things: practice what you preach and preach what you practice. In other words, teach what I do, what I actually do. Now, here's the one caveat, and this is a huge mistake that I see some speakers do. They look at the speakers who are successful. They look at Tony Robbins, they look at Brendan Burchard, they look at Brene Brown, they look at Simon Sinek, they look at, gosh, pick a person. And they try to model that speaker. They say, all right, Gary Vee does this. Alex Hormozi does this with his content strategy. I'm going to model that. I'm going to do what Hormozi does. And the problem is, remember those blocks, right? Stand on the block that you can, reach what you can, grab what you can. You can't skip steps, right? Because it would be like trying to float, right? You've got to stack the blocks. You can't do what someone who's here does and expect the same results if you're here in your process, in your journey. So there are going to be times when I say, do what I do. And there are going to be times when I say, do what I did, right? Back when I was starting out, back when this, back when that. And also, COVID has changed everything. I understand that when I started out, it was 2009. That's a long time ago, and things change. Now, that's why we take all of our speakers that are going through this process, and we learn, and we're always on the cutting edge and keeping up to date and that kind of thing too. So it really is about matching the strategies and leveraging the assets that we have in order to reach the goals that we want. You can't skip the middle. In so many times too, speakers, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a very famous speaker who coaches and teaches speakers. And, he says, this is what I did. And I did it 20, 30 years ago, whatever it was. And the market has completely changed now. The industry has completely different wants, needs, and desires. And yet, this is what I did. It worked for me. It'll work for you too. But there's celebrity behind it. Everybody knows the guy's name. And, so it cannot be a situation where good advice at the wrong time is bad advice. Okay. We cannot find ourselves in a situation where is it smart to put out 200 pieces of content a week if you're Alex Hormozi or Gary Vee, or a month or whatever it is. There's been a lot of attention in those types of activities that they're into. Use AI and blast this. Listen, time and a place, and what strategies are really going to turn the needle for a new starting out speaker? And the answer is speaking, right? That's a big portion of our marketing initiatives, is getting speaking gigs and leveraging those speaking gigs. If you don't have demo video, guess what? People still have to see you speak, right? So you get out there and you speak, and yes, video record it. Of course, always be adding, always be building that demo video. I'm still video recording my stuff. Always, forever, to get better, and then to get better footage and to improve and to, keep up to date with, I grew a beard this year, right? Most of a beard this year. So, again, you got to keep things up to date for sure. But yeah, do what successful people did and keep it adapted. This is the challenge, right? Keep it adapted to the current times. So, there may be somebody who's like, oh, I did this to get speaking gigs. It's like, well, yeah, but you're also a freaking New York Times bestselling author. Like, did you ever think that maybe some people are out there reading your book and inquiring about speaking gigs because, I don't know, you're a freaking New York Times #1 bestselling author? I don't know. Maybe that's what worked for you. And you're thinking it was because, you posted something on Clubhouse or Threads or LinkedIn, even, whatever, right? So, yeah. Strategic leverage. That's the sauce. Like that's what I obsess over. And we have a lot of trial and error to back it up. Not going to lie. We test everything. We put our own money into it. We test things out and try things out and, share it at the summit, share it in these programs. So it's all exciting stuff. All right. Any other questions in the chat? We're going to do a speak now or forever hold your peace, because we're coming up on the time when I absolutely need to switch gears and get ready for my next call. So we have a few minutes left. I don't want to cut anybody short. I am going to double check the chats. Sometimes people text me questions. Sometimes people send me email questions in response to the video series. So just having a quick peek here in case anything has come through, or if I missed anything in the emails, hook me. Okay, here we go. Here's an interesting thing. This is not a question from a this is someone trying to sell me something. They're trying to get me booked as a speaker, and they're going to try to sell me something. Let's see what they have to say. I'm not going to throw anybody in the bus. I'll skip names. I wanted to get back to you after our first contact. I didn't respond to that. I noticed you didn't create your profile yet. Yeah. I know the holidays may have had you focusing on other things. Consider that a casual nudge to get your profile set up so it's ready for this January launch. So this is not a speaker manager. This is someone who's saying, pay me money and we'll put your name on our website. No thanks. Right? When you are booked as much as you want to be booked, you have so much FU power. You have so much ability to say to someone when they come to you and say, will you come and speak for $5,000? You have the ability to say no if you choose. Or 10,000. I mean, if people come to me and say, we'll give you $15,000, but we want you to, like, I had this happen recently. Somebody said, we've got, I knew what their budget was, right? This was through a connection that had been booked before, and I knew what they paid their speakers, and it was between $15,000 and $20,000, and so they said, we want you to come in and we want you to be rah motivational. We want everybody out of their seats clapping and dancing, and I'm like, no, that's not me. That's not me. That's not what I do. That's not my style. There's not a fit here. If I take your $20,000, then it's going to hurt 20,000 times more when I bomb on something that I'm not really equipped to deliver. Could I learn? Could I practice? Yeah, but I don't want to, because listen, that's not my style. That's not who I am. It's not my message. It's not my passion. And I'm not going to fake it until I make it, because this business has plenty of room for people who have their heart on straight and they know they want to serve, and they may not have the perfect statue of David chiseled out of the granite, but they know there's something there that they want to bring to the world, and they know it's beautiful, and they know it matters. And it's not a situation where, again, I'm going to find myself like giving a B minus. Like, I am not in the business of showing up for a B minus. Right? It's too important. There's too many other things that we can really do with our skills and our passions and be in our zone. So stay in your lane, say yes to the things that are a fit for you, and have FU power so that you can say no to the things that are only going to put you in a B minus light at best. So I sent it out to another speaker, one of our alum, right? She booked the gig, did a fantastic freaking job. And I know because I was there, because the client also booked me to do my thing. I said to them, no, this is what I do. I planted my flag in the ground. This is what I do. This is my fee. I'm going to send you over here to somebody else who can do what you just said. And then they said, actually, that sounds pretty good too. Let's do both of them. And they did. And they booked both of us. So stand on it. Stand on your standards, right? Stay in your lane, deliver your passion, and focus on that, because there's plenty of room. There are plenty of other groups, plenty of other gigs, plenty of other opportunities, plenty of budgets. Once again, if you're packaged right and and you have the confidence, knowing that it's a bookable message, like Mike, man, the work we did, just, I don't know if you're still in the room, but man, just dialing in, like, there's one word that Mike has that just speaks volumes. And you've told me time and time again, like, the conversations are different now, because you can speak about what you speak about in a way that is relevant to them, in their language, and scratches an itch that they have. This happens over and over and over again with speakers. You saw the video of Poonam. She's literally like shaking her head going, I can't believe how fast this happened. It's just all feels like it's organic. I'm like, yeah, we packaged your message the right way. She's now got her stuff in every school in Texas, and she's speaking for mayoral councils, and she's just owning it because she has a packaged message, and she knows how to speak about what she speaks about, right? She doesn't have a word. She has a picture, a little thing that she can draw on a napkin, but she can also expand it and open it up into a 5-day workshop if she needed to. And that little image, that little picture has taken her around the world and opened up incredible doors. She got distracted by success. We talk about that all the time. So, yeah, I got off on a rant there. I did. I gave you my little I believe rant. I see that we've still got 6 people hanging in and watching us today. I just want to thank you for time, for attention. If you're watching this on the replay, awesome. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what the price is right now of the 6 Figures Speaking program, but I'll tell you what, it's an investment. And one shitty gig will pay for the whole thing. And by shitty, I mean shitty paid. You know, it's an industry where people expect to pay $4,500 for entry-level speakers, right? 5,000, right, is the number they use. We like to use the number 4,500. Little tip I picked up from David Newman, great speaker coach. I don't know if he's working with speakers anymore or just consultants, but you know, hey, 4,500 is cheaper than 5,000. Also sounds cheaper than 5,000 because it ends in 100, not 1,000. So, you know, it's a great starting quote if you don't know what to charge. And you're not dealing small to medium enterprise. This isn't like a real estate office that has 20 members and they just do weekly sales meetings and they need somebody to come in. Those opportunities can be leveraged, but you're not throwing out $5,000 necessarily. Some speakers are and some speakers can. But you know, 4,500 is a great starting quote if you're getting a corporate inquiry, right? So if you don't know what to charge, when in doubt, spread it out. I just gave you 2 tips in one. When in doubt, spread it out. So package options, right? And your base package should be right around $4,500. If you're new and if you're starting out, you don't have demo footage, you don't have like really established stuff, and it's the right audience, right? Maybe an association conference, perhaps, right? That has 500 members. You know, you gotta, I mean, but learning how to price your speaking, obviously that's something we'll learn in this program. That's obviously something that's important, that you can't price yourself out. I don't care how good your speech is. If people don't book it and they never see it, the momentum can never start, the impact, the ripple effect can never go. And so you want to find that sweet spot between valuing your content, valuing yourself, knowing your worth, and knowing your worth in what context, in what sandbox are you worth this versus are you worth that? So, man, oh man, yeah, there's lots to think about in terms of pricing, but at the end of the day, one baseline entry level gig for a corporate audience or an association audience, maybe even a breakout session, maybe not even the big keynote stage, right? You're making all of it back and then some. And one gig, if that's your goal and that's your target, you're in the wrong room. If your goal is to play small, you're in the wrong room. If your goal is to have like incremental, tiny improvements in your speaking business, you're in the wrong place. Like, that's not who we're dealing with. World changers here, at least aspirationally, to be able to, you know, maybe change the world, maybe change your world. You know, we got somebody who just signed on yesterday. He says, I'm getting married, and you know what? 6-figure income to show to my future in-laws, to show that I'm providing for this person. That's worth everything, right? So sometimes, again, it's not just a dollar amount. We often talk about not the money, but what money means. And we did that in the video series, and I'll do that constantly because I'm not someone who gets excited about dollar amounts. It's hard. I'm money blind. It's hard for me to be real excited or motivated by money is I think something a lot of people relate to. You're not motivated by money. You're motivated by what money can do, by what money can mean, by the freedom that it brings. And I'll tell you, you know, 6 figures speaking, you know, a lot of times when people say to me, man, if I could just break 6 figures, I genuinely have to stop and think, do you mean a year? Do you mean a month? Right? I mean, I've never had a 6-figure month, but you know, I've gotten close a few times, and it's certainly possible and doable. And there are opportunities to submit, you know, 6-figure contracts to some clients, and one of those Hail Marys is going to land. It's just a matter of time, right? So being in the position where you can best leverage what you got. And I'll close with this story. I'll close with a story of a conversation with my dad. Now, my dad is my whole family. My brother grew up, became a sound engineer, works for Bose Speaker Corporation. My mother was an accountant, worked for a big law firm. And my dad designed nuclear submarines for the Navy. and he taught physics for a while, and he was very sort of practical, pragmatic. And when I dropped out of college to become a magician, his head exploded. I watched it. His head exploded right off of his neck. And it was a lot of friction, a lot of butting heads. And it became a time and it came a moment when he turned it around and became my biggest fan and got off of trying to, give me the tough love and, say things like, talking to my brother, the engineer, where they always, whenever we get together, they always talk about work and stuff. And I'm always kind of like just sipping my tea and, but I overheard him talking. He's like, Chris, he has like, he's kicking our ass. After all this time, like, can you believe that shit? Like, after what we did in our careers and the incremental slow growth that we took, he just like, took it to the moon. So it is quite a feeling. And before all of that, he actually told me, Tim, this is where your biggest potential is. He didn't tell me, when I had 2 daughters and couldn't do 300 magic shows a year anymore, and I needed to reinvent myself. He didn't say go back to college like he had been saying for the previous 10 years or whatever it was. He said to me, this is your highest leverage activity. This is your highest earning potential. This is your biggest and best opportunity financially, pragmatically, practically. He said, you can't not go for that. And I hear it in your voice, the passion and the energy and the enthusiasm and the excitement and what it would mean to you to have to not be stage. He said, I see that and I know that. And you've got to do this. You've got to do this. So I'll close with that. If that is also you got the link there. I mean, it's in the chat somewhere. That's the video series in the chat. But man, I've been talking about this all week. Get on the email list if you're not on the email list. Just go to getspeakinggigs.com, put your email in any box. Make sure you stay in touch with what we're doing and how we're helping speakers to impact the world, because we're a small community. This isn't hundreds of thousands of people. This isn't all kinds of speakers. This is laser focused corporate speaking gigs, 6 figures a year, maybe even a month as time goes on. And join us. Hang out, right? Follow that voice, follow that calling, follow that, whatever it is that eats you alive from the inside is a pretty good clue as to where maybe you should put some attention and focus. So that is it from me for now, as we say. We'll speak soon.